Dear students, it's a pleasure to be here today with each of you. I'll share some secrets of years of experience. You're not going to learn only simple and basic techniques. You're going to learn techniques that have been refined for the past 30 years. And I will be gladly showing you new ways of doing techniques that probably you haven't seen yet. We're going to work mount escapes. Mr. Greg Seal, please. Sitting up here real quick. Partner is sitting up. Basically, I'm trying to break his balance with my knees. It is important here, a couple things. Sit high, please. If the partner is high and your elbows are wide, you are not in a good position. So you're going to start walking on your shoulders and bring your elbows in against your partner's legs. Basically here, I use my knee in the following manner. I turn my knee in, pull, so I can have his weight forward. Okay? Here, my initial attempt with Mr. Seal, I was trying to get taller a little bit and trap his foot to go for a rollover escape, controlling his arm at the same time, my other hand holding and pushing his stomach. As you see, he naturally has a tendency to try to counter the position by shifting his weight. So I'm going to continuously reset my hand that pushes. So I push a bit, and then I stop, push again. Once I feel his weight is towards that side that I'm trapping the arm and the leg, I start to push more, bridge, and go over. Okay? As I was attempting the position though, what I did notice was that Mr. Seal here, as he noticed that I wanted to go for his arm and his leg, he started to bring that foot up a bit. Yeah, don't let me trap your foot. Yes. So I felt like I couldn't trap the foot. Okay? So what happens here, I might try to roll him over, but I feel here that I don't have this position here. Push your foot on the ground, please. Yes, so he had the foot posted on the ground. Basic idea here, my arm position. Please remember to frame your arm against the hip. So if your partner tries to move up, go ahead. See, I stop his weight from coming forward. In the meantime, my other arm is going to reinforce the lever as I turn my knee to the floor. Okay? As I'm in this position, two possibilities. I keep scooting my hip and get my knee under, or, push again please. If it's too difficult here, I'm gonna try to lift him with my knee. So you use my knee, lift him up a bit, that makes this leg a little lighter, and I go. As I'm here, you're gonna see that his weight keeps traveling towards my body here. It's kind of hard for me to face him. I do a leg, I put a brake on his knees. As you see here, let me show you here. See my hands, putting a brake here. And I do a leg work here. I try to trap his foot this way, okay? In the meantime, I have the other leg free to start bumping and eventually trying to face him, okay? We're gonna kind of work a little bit here, troubleshoot in a second, as you make the transition to try to escape to the full guard. So I'm getting the half guard. Once I'm here, okay, turn around for a second, please. So I use the same frame against the hip again. And if you notice, he tries to put the weight against me, okay, I'm stopping him there, and I have the freedom to start working against his leg. If I have the time and the space, I will still do a leg work. Just one more time, please. Here, I switch my foot. Do you see that? From here to here, so he doesn't run from me. Because a lot of times when I try to just go, yes, some guys will try to take advantage and get out of the half guard as I do it. So if he gives me the space, I'll go ahead and switch the foot. Okay, and from here I'll proceed and get him in the half guard. Now, without resistance means he's not doing anything to stop my leg. So if I have my knee against his leg, a lot of times people get trapped here. They try to just move the hip. And once they move the hip, the foot is kind of stuck. Go back again one more time. Basically what I try to do is, once my knee is here, I'll push the leg straight down all the way and bring my knee up. Look how my foot is already out. So I don't have to deal with the problem of trying to release that foot, okay? One aspect here also is if your opponent ever tries to stop your leg, okay, you're gonna still keep the frame, and instead of going against his leg, you go against his wrist, okay? And you start to scoot your hip and stretch your leg so you can kind of release that grip. And my knee is gonna go against his arm instead of against his leg, since his arm is what's blocking my leg there. I push straight, and here, either I'm gonna get him in the guard, okay? He has to be careful so I don't frame him into a triangle attack. And as long as I'm square, I'm in a good position here, okay? Going back again, I wanna kind of show one little observation here, lie down. We're gonna go over to the elbow escape from the mount in a second, but I'm here, okay? My partner, once he's here, I have the best interest in maintaining or recovering the mount, okay? So my weight's gonna be on. He's putting the brake on my legs so he doesn't let my weight progress. He does the footwork so he can switch, yes. But you see, as he tries to make the transition into putting me in the full half guard and eventually facing me to work on the other leg, this arm is on the way here. So some opponents will take advantage of that, and once they see the arm here, they're gonna grab the wrist, and as he tries to progress into the escape, they're gonna go over into the half guard and start setting up a Kimura grip. And the way you submit here, you know, some guys, if you keep the Kimura frame with the arm flexed, you kind of try to turn the guy, you know, like you're putting the weight on the waist and lifting the shoulder off the ground. I personally like to lift the guy's arms and go for like a stretched out finish, okay? So that way I don't have to affect my balance that much. Lift up, finish up that way, okay? So the reason I want to show you this is because I want to make sure that once you perform the escape, you don't fall into this trap, okay? So going over one more time. Partner is here, he's going to try to move. So as he's trying to move, I stop his hand, keep going. Here, I reach over his shoulder and I start digging the elbow. Now, you don't have space to come with the hand inside right away. You got to make a V sometimes over the elbow, and as he tries to progress, bring it up a bit. Now your hand starts to fit in, okay? Some people like to work with the thumb. That's fine. I normally feel better pushing with the palm, okay? And here you have this way, or like I said, flat your weight onto him a little bit, lift him up, stretch him out. Mount position, escape, number 2, the rollover. Walk, okay? Work on your partner's balance. As you see, my elbows are pointing down and blocking his legs. Now here, what I want, I still keep the knee under his butt so he doesn't get back sitting on top of me. I can trap his arm this way, or I can try to trap this way. I'm gonna kind of first explore this situation here. Keep your arms strong on the ground. My objective here, as long as his hands are shoulder width, you know, spread out, I have a good shot here. What I want to do is make sure I bring his elbow in. I won't be able to do that with my hand alone, okay, because his arm is too strong. Keep your elbow strong there. See, I can't move that well. And I want to make sure I close the gap between my elbow and his leg. So once I'm here and I grab his arm, I want to put my foot on the ground, and I'm going to walk on my shoulders. Do you see how my shoulder kind of gets close to his leg? In the meantime, my elbow stops his leg. I can eventually trap his foot. Sometimes the other hand kind of helps a little bit if you just break his balance a bit to prevent him from shifting his weight as you trap, okay? My other hand is under the body over here, and the way you push, you don't try to push the guy straight out while he has the hand posted on the ground. You try to break his balance first. So you're gonna push and reset the push at stomach level here, or chest, and here as you push, you reset the push until you feel his weight is off, okay? Once you're here, you keep proceeding with the push. As you see, I push all the way, and my hip never goes down, nor my leg ever goes up, okay? I kind of rotate on my shoulder. That's a very important aspect of the game. And as I get on top, I'll always try to keep my hands inside to prevent him from increasing the control and holding me down in the guard. Again. So, partner sitting up, okay? Don't try to escape position. Walk on your shoulders, elbow in. Now here, work on his balance. I like to use that knee, okay? As long as his arms are shoulder width, okay? That's good for the rollover. So basically, as I grab the elbow, I post my other hand on the stomach, push a little bit, and the other foot on the ground, okay? I'm walking here, okay? I trap his elbow with my elbow and my foot, okay? Make sure you push a little bit that way so he doesn't have means to counter, and keep resetting the push. Don't just go for one push here. Push, reset, push, reset, push, reset. And as he gets rolled over, you end up on top. The single detail I want you to pay attention. Now, this is a drill that you do to get better at this position, okay? Your partner can start with the hands on the floor posted, okay, but really strong elbows, yeah. And here basically, what I would do is like, once I grab the arm, okay, keep your arms higher a little bit, yeah, right here. See, so once I grab the arm, I have to make sure that I close the gap between my elbow and his leg, okay? So once I grab, keep your arms strong there, don't let me pull. See, instead of just pulling, look my shoulders. See, I walk with my shoulders, so I close the gap. My best bet is to try to keep the elbow checking. And I use the other hand to affect his balance just a bit as I get the leg trapped, okay? And here, as I lift, I always reset the position, see? Let me turn around a little bit here so you can see the hand. Turn more a little bit. So once I'm in this position here, instead of just going straight here, you reset. See that? Keep resetting, keep resetting. So every time you reset, you increase the amount of weight you're gonna be able to push. And here, eventually, you push all the way out and roll over into the guard. Now, elbow escape, one more, and then we're gonna troubleshoot. Ready? Okay, mount position. Now, your opponent will never start and keep the same position all the time. Let's assume he was sitting up. But here at this point, remember, you always, one more drill that I'd like you to play with, you always try to get higher than your opponent, okay? So sit higher on my chest a little bit, Mr. Greg. Yes, right there. So before I do anything here, see how he's high? My hip is not as strong. My leg is not as strong. I cannot break his balance that easily. And I'm very susceptible when my elbows are out to being attacked. You know, he can explore a lot of possibilities here. So I close my fists and I push my arms against his body. Here, look at my shoulders, one shoulder at a time, until you can fully get taller and have his body on top of your hip. Now I have a lot more lever to use my knee against the guy's hip to bring him forward. But I want him to spread his arms out really wide, really wide. The problem when the arm is really wide, there's no way you can control the arm and bring your elbow close to the leg anymore, okay? So you're gonna have to figure out a way to work against your opponent's legs, okay? And basically here in this position, once he gets there, I'm gonna start to work with my feet and flat my leg, okay? Now, sometimes his grapevine is gonna be strong, so I have to frame his hip, okay? I cannot fully escape well when my arms are spread out. So what do? I wanna have my right arm, if I'm gonna escape to my left, my right arm across his hip. I push in opposite direction with my left just a bit, okay, and bump my hip. As I do it, look, I pass the arm in. Okay, one more time. So I'm here, okay, put your pressure, put weight on. Here, I stop the hip. I don't know if you guys can see, he cannot progress his weight on top of me. That gives me a little bit more chance now to use the other arm, whether with my elbow or my hand, whichever he allows me. And in this case, because he's grapevining close to my knee, I have reach to step on his leg here. See that? And as I do it, my objective is to flat, okay? I try to prevent him from grapevining my other leg if I can. Work with my foot. Bump my hip before I push. He's heavy here. So I bump my hip as I turn, and I go there. And then from here, we're gonna proceed into the next step. Going back to the elbow escape one more time. So I'm trying to get in a good position. I get tall, my elbows are in, okay? And I'm gonna work with my knee to break his balance, but as I do it, his arms spread out way further, so I can never regain the range to block his leg with my elbow, okay? So my main concern here, if I'm in this position, some guys will try to escape from here right away. See, they kind of flat the leg on top of the guy and try to peel off the grapevine of the foot. And from here, they bump and get the leg under. That's the simple way. One more time, slow. So I'm here, just pick up. Okay. So I get heavy. I peel off. Push, push, push. So I try to control here with the elbow or the hand. Once my leg is flat, it is in my best interest to point my knee out, because he can still regain the grapevine here if my knee is pointing up. Go back again. So I keep turning my knee out. And here, as he keeps the pressure on, I'm gonna just try to bump my hip a bit. His legs are heavy still. So bump the hip. And as you bump, it's easy to lift the leg. You see how my knee comes under? And then from here, you get him initially in the half guard, okay? The second scenario is when the grapevine is a little higher. See, yeah, so here, it's gonna be a little bit more struggle. I might not have the reach to peel off, okay? So what I'm gonna do, and I told you earlier, is to frame the hip. If I'm escaping to my right side, it is important that I use my left arm to block his waist, so his weight doesn't stay so heavy against me here. The way I allow my left arm to go and frame his hip is by pushing him opposite direction slightly with my right hand. So I'm gonna bump my hip and push. As I do it, I get my arm in, okay? Now here, he's gonna still try to drive his weight forward. And there's a word of advice that I really recommend. If you stretch your arm, you're gonna allow your partner to circle around your elbow and create angles here that will complicate your escape a little bit, okay? So go back again one more time. Once I'm here, okay, in this position, I wanna do, grapevine is high, okay? I'll bump the hip, okay, and try to switch my arm position and keep kind of like a square angle here with him, arm flexed. And then from this position here, I'm gonna start trying to progress into the escape. See, grapevine is high. Sometimes you might need to bump your hip and push, you know, and stretch your legs a little bit. And as you do it, you're gonna lower the grapevine enough that you can reach out with your foot. Once that happens, see, my arm still stays constant over there. I'm gonna try to program the escape, keep your leg a little tighter there. It doesn't matter what he does with his legs. I got either the hand or the elbow blocking over here. And some people like to use the knee to lift the guy up and make it easy to go that way. Or sometimes they just bump the hip a bit, move the hip back. Okay, go back. You have to take the weight off the leg in order to make it easy to maneuver. Okay, and once you're here, I cannot face him yet because as you see, his weight is kind of heavy on me. That's why I like to switch my foot here. Okay, I have to also hide this arm. Remember, when I'm trying to go for the full guard position from here, I'm gonna try to block his legs, okay, in this position. So if he tries to put the knee over, because here a lot of times he's gonna try to regain the control. So I kind of cross my hands, elbows in, and I try to keep, if he tries to progress or put weight against my leg, I'm kind of just stopping his leg cold there. Footwork here, one leg trapped, the inside leg, the outside leg stretch. I try to move under. Remember what I told you here now. In this transition, the danger is getting caught in the kimura, because he can grab my wrist, and as I get caught there, he's going to reach over the shoulder and start going for it. Okay, go back again. So once you get into this position here, and as he tries to do something, you're going to have to move your hip back and forth, okay, to create enough space and lever that you can hide that arm. And here, finally, as he puts the weight on me, I'm gonna follow the same procedure. Frame the hip, and then start going. If he gives you reach, you're gonna go for the leg. If he keeps his legs coiled, don't worry about it. Just move your hip until you can get your knee up. If your knee is against his leg, push straight down, and here you get your leg out, and have your legs wrapped into the full guard. Okay? And the last troubleshoot, if I'm about to go here, and he tries to hold my leg, I still keep the frame and make sure that you don't make the mistake of letting the frame go and try to work on the guy's arm with this arm because he can put more weight against you. Go back again. So you make sure you stop his weight distribution. Go ahead and put weight against me. See, I keep that right arm, I don't know if you can see here, let go first, blocking his hips so I can breathe, I can catch my time here. And here, my other hand controls the arm. I kind of kick my leg out as I move my hip. That normally allows my knee to escape from his grip. And I put my knee against his arm, push all the way down, and then bring my leg all the way up. So I already have the guard position in place. Now we're going to try to follow up another scenario that unfolds from our previous work from the mount escape. If you succeed in rolling your partner over, your next step will be passing the guard. And I'm going to introduce my student, Mr. Eddie Ricardo, to help me out covering those points. Just lie down. So basically here, what you have to be concerned about is your stance, okay? If you see my hip position here, it's like I want to do a squat, okay, if I want to stand up, or even if I want to pass while I'm low. Okay, my hip kind of clamps a little bit. I shrug my shoulder a little bit. I can carry a lot of weight that way. A lot of times your partner will have three major ways to start, okay? I'm always in contact with his body. Either I try to control his arms initially, either the wrist or the arm, okay? But when I let go to do a guard pass, let's assume I was going for a low guard pass. I position my knee inside his hip, and I back up my other leg, turning my hip, okay? I might be successful here if once I let go of the arm, I put enough pressure at belt level, despite the fact he's going to try to hold my arm, and enough pressure against the knee. Now, what breaks the guard in this position is not just the pressure, but your hip rotation, okay? When you're here, you got to sustain enough his pressure to pull you down and turn your hip. See? That separates the feet apart, and you're going to try to regain control by backing up and getting your foot inside, okay? Best case scenario here, your hip will go through all the way. If that's the case, he's going to try to push you off and keep you away. You kind of try to lower your weight and control the hip. So I have hip control here, okay? Try to get rid of anything that's blocking your leg, but watch for the kimura here. A lot of times people try to go for the leg and they get caught in the kimura. Do slow again. So I'm trying to go here, look how my elbow is. So anything I do, one more time please, I'm always with my arm tight. Even if I was here, he was trying to go for the kimura, he doesn't have that much room to attack there. I have time to react. Now in this position, my foot is always inside and underneath his leg. I don't want to let that leg go and get caught in a full half guard. So I have to struggle now to get that leg out. If my knee here is over between his knee and his thigh, the most likely scenario will be I'll try to fish his arm so he doesn't stop me. Okay, drive his body flat on the ground, reach out for the cross face and for his other leg. Okay, and here I kick my leg out, establish the side mount. If I was in this position here and my knee is out that way, like right here, what I will do is I'll put my weight in front of him, okay, and I'm gonna try to ride my other knee into his leg, and of course fishing for his arm so he doesn't stop me. And then here I rotate my hip, rotation of the hip, and normally you would be able to free that foot or go back. If the foot gets stuck a little bit and you feel you have to struggle, you can always redirect your knee. You lift, push his hip out. And a lot of times that might result in a mount position or almost a mount position that you can accommodate from the half guard. Come back again, please. Shoulder shrugged, hip tucked in. So if he tries to pull you in and stuff, you can endure a lot more and it protects your neck. Okay, a lot of guys that keep the neck stretched out and the guy reaches for the lapel and jerks your neck, you know, you might lose your balance there. If he tries to do the same thing now, see, pull hard, see, yeah. See, I have a lot more endurance here, okay? Now, like I said, not always passing the guard while you're low on your knees will be successful for the following reason. You're gonna get your knee inside the hip and step your other leg. And as you make, just keep your legs locked and work on my balance, please. As you make the transition for the belt over here and the knee here, he's gonna grab your collar, pull you towards him and lift his hip off the ground a bit. Yeah, legs cross.
Leg cross?
Yeah. Yeah, you see that? So I lose, yes, you see, it's kind of hard. So I have a little observation here, is when I'm here, 1, 2, 3, once I do here and I feel he's going to succeed in breaking my balance, especially here, I do what I call the break. I put my other arm over on his chest, and here I have to be careful with the angle, because the more his hip goes out, the more in danger I might be of attack. So as soon as he's there, go ahead. I walk to the middle, okay? I'm stable in position here. Then I accommodate my knees. See how my knees kind of get into the hip. I secure my grip. I like to do the following grip. I set his lapel nicely together, solar plexus level, double grip. My other hand holds on the belt, okay? And here, look here, just the hip alone. Keep your legs really tight. See, I kind of hump my hip a little bit. He already kind of opened the leg, but go back. If he doesn't, what I'm gonna do in this position as I hump, I'll lower the grip just a bit more at belt level, step back my leg, and once I come with my hand on the knee, I rotate my hip again. And here as I do it, I get right back in. It's in my best interest to prevent their knee from coming across. So if I can keep my elbows tight as he tries to get their knee across, it will be easier for me to finish in a simple way. Remember, if your knee is between the knee and the waist, over here, you try to lower your weight. As he tries to stop you, you just kind of control the arm and stay with him. Okay, eventually as you flatten him over, hide your knee inside the elbow, reach out for the cross face, a little bit of pressure on the cross face, and here, try to control inside the other leg. As long as he doesn't cross the legs together, okay, let your leg loose for now. You can follow up with the kick out. See, I still have my foot. Come around a little bit. Still have my foot inside. I never let that foot go until I step out completely and end up on the side. Okay? Now, troubleshooting in case you end up in the same position here. And as you try to cross face and go here, he kind of cross his legs together in a tight manner that I can't kick that leg out. But because I have the hook still inside, that allows me. The way I do it, I kind of push the leg down, move towards the guy, and then I pull my knee up. See, that creates a very strong release. Okay? And here, as he tries to stop me or something, I just go back to that same basic move. As he tries to recover, I grab the leg and I kick my leg out. I don't have to worry about, at this point, going to the mount. Repeating one more time. If I was here, see, I establish the control, my elbows are in, he's trying to stop me, I lower my weight, I fish for his arm, try to work keeping his body flat on the ground, reach out for the cross face, okay? And here, as you see, he's trying to make more difficult for me to release and kick that leg out by keeping it tight. Instead of getting inside his leg, I push the knee, keep more pressure. I push the knee, and then I pull my knee up. So I release a lot. And from here, I go back inside. See, because now I was able to create enough space to release my legs. So we are here working the pass, got the knee under, and I was going, and I felt like strong pressure to elevation of the hip and pulling me forward with the lapel control. So one arm over, pushing the brake. Okay, knee down, square with the guy. Boom. Now here, okay, you can go from here right away, or you can kind of take your time. You can go here, turn your hip, step out. Now as I go for the position here, to kind of clear the leg, see, I'm trying to get my knee inside, okay, and go here. This knee starts to get across, okay? The only problem with this position is I cannot charge forward comfortably without losing my balance. Some guys here, you know, they'll catch your, you kind of affect your balance here, catch your sleeve. So as soon as that happens, okay, I don't insist and go against that lever. I try to change levels. I try to get up, and here as I get up, I crowd him with my hip. And here I try to hide my elbows and use the angle to try to see if I can fish under his legs. Okay? If I can develop the position here with one shoulder under the leg, I'm gonna grab low, okay, very low, and keep control. All I want is to crowd his hip with my weight. My other hand is never inside, but outside the leg. So if he tries to move a little bit. See, I'm just trying to stay here, and eventually a little shoulder shrug is all it takes to get that leg out of the way. I want to warn just one quick pitfall in this position. A lot of guys like to reach really high, okay, which is all right. There are a couple of problems with this position. You might be able to succeed. Some guys push your elbow and get the knee inside your armpit. Yes, and then here start to complicate a little bit your ability to consolidate the position. Some others are very tricky in doing a reversed Americana from there. Anytime there is a hand across the chest, they're gonna hide the hand inside and hold here. I don't know if you guys see what's going on here. Okay, now the problem with this position is if I insist on passing, I can break my shoulder because he's already pushing my arm, and here as I turn, I tap myself if I don't happen to tap out beforehand. So remember, if you reach deep enough, there is a little risk, because this is something I've seen a lot of people doing. Your partner opens a little bit of space to get the hand inside. Once he frames the key lock, see, you are in bad shape. That's not the case when your grip is lower, okay? Grip lower, he doesn't have the space, and you have more opportunity to keep the weight heavy on the hip. And stay here, don't rush to pass. Eventually, your shoulder pops his leg out of the way. Going back to the same troubleshoot one more time when the knee is across, just to make sure everybody understands. In this position here, like I said, the level change is an option, okay? So you're here, you level change, and you crowd, try to go under, fish under. If your partner starts to get his legs heavy and doesn't let you do it, you go inside again. And from here, you back up, and then you go back to the same basic one. I don't know if you noticed that I was able to kind of get my arms inside. I was trying to reach under, and I felt a lot of pressure here. Okay, so as he is defending the guard there, and I feel don't go, I back up a bit, look my arms. Arms in. Now this one controls one leg, this one blocks the hip, so I can knee down and eventually start to work towards the same pass that we worked on earlier on. 1, 2, and 3. And finally, of course, that when I'm in this position and the knee is across over here, you can also, always watching the neck. I don't know if you notice here that there's always danger. So you always tuck your chin. I can go for the lace. Okay, lace and arm control. I back up. If you don't control this arm, there is risk here. Okay, some guys, they'll try to bug you here. There's a tapping potential. So make sure you keep that hand out of the way so he doesn't have the choke. Control the inside knee. And basically here, as you pull your elbow to the ceiling, you walk and stretch his other leg. Okay, and here, to make him feel a little more discomfort, coil your legs with your feet on the ground and push your weight all the way against your partner. And eventually, you stabilize on the side mount. And just to finish up the lace option from this position, once you go here and here, sometimes if you ever feel too much struggle going this way, you can try to walk. I shrug my neck, put my head kind of like on the floor, and I do a little jump with my shoulder on his leg. I can lower a little bit the shoulder. And here I put my hip against his hip to help me push his hip and pop my arm out so I can eventually get over to the side on the opposite side.